Feeling bored? Why not try summoning a Utopia-themed Xyz monster? We got light monsters, light monsters, light monsters, light monsters, dark monsters, light monsters, light monsters, dark monsters, light monsters, light monsters, light monsters, light monsters.
Oh, no, I'm not that either. I just like water.
I'm not caught up on the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, nor do I have any real wish to be. I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling it. It never really reaches a level of gameplay that I could enjoy. Hey, I couldn't even sit through Stardust Crusaders. Do you think I'm built for this? It does leave me out of the loop on the purpose of a few game design choices, flavor for taste buds I don't have. What is a Tindangles? Where are the mech ladies? How many Dark Magician cards will be enough? I need you all to remember, I'm no anime buff. I'm not gonna get saved from the jaws of defeat during a heated match by remembering in what episode a suit of metal armor turns Utopia into a beast warrior. That's just not gonna happen. I invest my time in the real duelist world. Rush Duel Magnet Warriors. I felt it necessary to reiterate that when I go into a topic, I will often overlook or ignore influencing anime elements. So, about that armor, that card that makes Utopia into full armored Utopic Ray Lancer, that is, well, that's it we're talking about. Lancer. Utopia.
Lancer!
Utopia with cheese.
This card was released last year late in the OCG land in the Quarter Century Duelist box, and it does a million things I love to see on a card. I'm of the opinion that Xyz and Link summons are some of the coolest things you can do in a card game. While that does mean I can never forgive the unprinting of Circular, and in turn Mathmech as a whole, I can still continue to partake in their ways. This guy with 3 level 4s as material does fit the Mathmech bill, but you're not gonna summon it like that unless you're a complete moron without any back row in hand. See, this guy, if you squint really hard, is an Xyz and a Link 1. All you gotta do to summon it is have a spell trap to pitch and a rank 4 or lower monster, almost like you're replacing a really bad rank up magic spell that shouldn't have been included in the game in the first place. Oop. This summon condition itself does a lot of work for all the little gears turning in my head. The ability to be made the hard way, but with no real reason to do it in 1 in 100 instances, is really cool. That freedom is vital to assessing the overall quality of this cardboard combatant. I'm out here with every single back row running through my mind. Anything you can grab off of a rank 4 or lower searcher, that could be better off in the graveyard than in the hand, and I'm having a time and a half. I have a couple of practical applications in mind, but you should know better than for me to lead with those. You can make Alan Version with 4 mats, get a spell trap that for some reason wants to be in the graveyard and not the hand, then rank it up into Utopic, pitching your card with the greatest of ease. No, guys, you don't understand. The UA plays will be immense. The Salamandra with Chain into Nova Master plays will become more real than ever. But you get it. An easy-to-make card warps design space in a way that they will have to be answering for years to come. A real snake rain of a guy right here. I'm aware that it's typically normal to want to activate your stuff from the hand and then get a respectable graveyard effect. However, you can't deny that this card isn't a single bit future-proofed, and if I have any say in this cruel card game, that's a decision the general player base will live to regret. Let's take a break from talking about this card's summoning condition, and take a peek at the stat lines that make this stinker extremely cool. It's a rank 4, and it's not a number monster, so if you find yourself in a deck that can make a mismatched pair of Xyz monsters, one being a 4, this might be able to bridge the gap for you. The attack value? Well, it's just a decent attack stat, of course being the same as Utopia's. What did you think it was gonna be? You moron? I could take or leave the Beast Warrior typing, but here's something neat about it. You can make this card in Zodiac, right? Which isn't a surprise, it's a rank 4 deck. But its original typing being a Beast Warrior allows for all the Zodiac effects to give their effects to the big guy himself. And both the Zodiac trap cards have effects that go off in the graveyard, but remain underwhelming on the field in the current landscape. Just something to think about, if any of these stinkers manage to sneak off the ban list. Now to this thing's effects. The rest of them, however. Somehow we're still not out of stuff to talk about. Monsters your opponent controls all lose 500 attack on the field, which makes their attack stat a little bit more workable. Doesn't get close to outing a lot on its own, but it has another trick up its sleeve to make up for the difference. That comes in the form of negating all of your opponent's attack position monsters at the start of the battle phase, permanent-like. Either player's battle phase, at the cost of no materials.
Say my name.
This contributes directly to our friend here making for great Zeus fodder, if you still need ways to eat some interaction before going for the overlay. Downer Magician is probably safer still, but this is gonna be a big money payoff, enough to consider it. While we're on the battle phase, here comes the third effect, where the detach finally comes in, to give you an additional attack as soon as Utopic destroys a guy in battle.
You wanna see me do it again?
Crazy that the worst effect this card has is a double attack. While that in a bad/slow game state, you can use Utopic as insulation, even if it doesn't have any material. Out of all the usages this card has, my favorite has to be its capacity to bulk up on Xyz material for other cards to take advantage of, the Goblin Riders. What inspired me to make this video, and one of my favorite decks at the moment, rivals to my other favorite deck at the moment, Snake Eyes. That's right, I sometimes like good decks too. Anyway, Goblin Riders are a primarily rank 3 Xyz based deck, with main deck monsters and spells specializing in removing materials from their Xyz monsters, rather than using them for the main Xyz monster effect. Their capacity to do so made the existing full armor Xyz cards usable in the deck as a reliable interruption, since having no materials on your Xyz armor fortress lets you rank up into full armored Dark Lancer, using full armored Xyz to Xyz summon something on your opponent's turn, then using the trap card effect in the graveyard to equip an Xyz monster from your graveyard to the Lancer, which will then attach an opponent's monster to itself as Xyz material, while gaining some funky buffs off of whichever monster was equipped, along with some attack points, and a Union monster style pop to protect. While finally having a decent outlet for these effects is fantastic, full armored Utopic Ray Lancer cranks it up a few notches, and grants you the flexibility to make your plays in a different order. Now, to get yourself more materials to work with in your Goblin combo, you're able to make Armor Fortress before the Lancer, giving yourself a trap card in hand to pitch for said Lancer. With the Armored Xyz trap being in the graveyard, you can now use the equip effect, skipping the step of Xyz summoning something on the opponent's turn. There are reasons why you would want to do it normally, and yes, you can still do a normal combo to get there. However, Goblin in particular already has a card in Archetype that can Xyz summon a Goblin on the opponent's turn, so if you really need to be paying off that Clattersploder interaction, that's there for you. Flexibility is the key here, above all else. A card that grants access to more plays for practically free, that also happens to be an impressive Zeus line, that definitely deserves to be part of the Goblin strategy. Hopefully we get to see Utopic Ray in the TCG before Goblin gets anywhere close to needing a ban list hit. It would be just like me to make a video about this card that becomes useless before the card is TCG legal. In case you couldn't tell, I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm a particularly weak player when it comes to making decisions during the battle phase, so a card that can greatly simplify the board state before I have to make those choices, that I can put into most Xyz decks, is appreciated. If you appreciate it as well, what decks will you be putting this card into as soon as you get a chance? I'm going to talk to my BA guy about what you can do here. I'm going to see if I can talk myself into finishing the 3 videos I'm working on at the moment though first. My ego just won't let me be confident in stream highlights. Oh well.
Utopia Lancer. It's different for a reason.